Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is Reality with DVD. How you doing? And this is going to be my episodes recap of Beyond the Gates, the 21st through the 25th. Y'all, uh, hey, I told you I live in a little small town in Mississippi, but y'all hear that hustle and bustle? Now, I had no idea. I guess I should have known because I've stayed in the hotels uptown. But I had no idea that the hustle and bustle would be able to be a part of these videos while I'm sitting on the side of the street waiting on my children to come out of piano practice. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get on into the recap. Well, what happens on the 21st episode is this week is heavily based on Dougie Doug. And y'all know how I feel about Doug. We're not going to go all into a whole lot of detail about that. Doug and Vanessa ain't got their groove back, child. But like I said last week, this woman is insatiable. So therefore, her needs are still not being met. 1 second. Let me see if I can at least roll up a couple of these windows without down in this Mississippi heat. So anyway, that was my baby calling me. She don't feel like doing piano, so here we go. Anyway, Eva pours herself into orchestrating what she needs to do to get down to business with Ted and Nicole. And still at this point, I'm still confused as to why her mama is targeting Nicole. I'm assuming that it may be because she's just extremely jealous. But like I said in last week's episode, it's beginning to really look as though it may be a situation where she was actually stolen at birth. Because remember, think about it. Eva and Kat are only a few days apart in birth. Now, with fraternal twins, we know that things are possible. Fraternal twins are in separate sex. So it's very, very possible that one could have come a whole week earlier. I've heard of fraternal twins who one need to cook a little bit longer. Actually, that happened to one of my friends. One of her babies need to cook a little bit longer. But it was an emergency situation with the other one, and so they went on ahead and delivered her. Put her in ICU and NICU, and then she later delivered the other one. So it's quite possible that Nicole had twins and she didn't know. And another reason why I say that is because she talks about how many miscarriages she had, and then that Nicole was her miracle baby. Who's to say she didn't have 2 miracle babies? Because hell, Leslie is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Some people, they said that though, when I did that video, some people said that they didn't want to see twins because the story was overdone. It might be overdone on other soap operas, but it's not overdone on here. We haven't seen it on here yet. Moving right along. So they go to the karaoke bar, and Anita is feeling some kind of way because the girls are trying to get her on stage to sing again. Now, at this point, I was thinking to myself, I've been knowing Tamara Tuna Bouquet a long time, so I was like, maybe she can't sing, because I don't remember them talking about her being able to sing in any of her bios, but, we'll see. So at this point, Anita is terrified. She goes up there, she's shaky, she's weak. And then the song comes on. She stops it a couple times, and then finally she performs. And y'all, when I tell y'all that took me back to the days of real, the times when it was real R&B with, the group, like the Changing Faces and the harmonizing, and it just felt really real at that point. Especially when Danny and Naomi started to join her. Now, Doug is in a tumultuous situation. He's been confronted by Joey, and He's really trying to hold his gambling addiction at bay, but it's coming apart at the seams. Now remember, he has rekindled, so he thinks he has rekindled things with his wife. But for some reason, with that lady and what I believe to be as an ex addiction, put an S in front of it, it makes it seem like that she really wants Joey. And Joey definitely is attracted to her. But Joey is such a mobster, gangster type that, you know, he's also all about them dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all. Now, the weirdest thing is that at some point, we're at the restaurant and, you know, Dougie Doug, he finds a $50,000 scratch-off ticket. And, child, what did he find that ticket for? He gets back into the damn throes of addiction. So let's get on into episode 20, well, April 23rd's episode. April 22nd episode. So, Anita is confused, right? Because, you know, now at this point, they've told Vernon that they really want her back on stage. Because, you know, they saw her on karaoke. And this is what she was afraid of. She was like, well, you know, that was karaoke, and now you offering me deals and all this type of stuff. And here I am, you know, a nervous wreck. And I haven't been on stage in years. I gave up this whole thing for my family. But this dude is very, very persistent. He's like, you know, it takes me back to the days of, I forget Anita's group name, the Agerettes, the Najarettes or something. I be wanting to say the Marvelous, but at the same time, we know that's not it. But, you know, something in that range. So, we get to Danny and Chelsea. And Chelsea is begging her mom to become the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of their, now she don't want to work with her mama anymore in modeling. But now she wants her to put her secondary dreams on hold for her. And that Danny gives her a firm no. Sweetheart, you know I love you, honey. But I got my own thing going on over here. And one of those things she got going on over there is Naomi cousin. Oh, well, wait a minute. Naomi's cousin. Naomi and... No. Not Naomi's cousin. They're not related to Naomi and... they're not related to Naomi and... Andre is not related to Naomi and... What's the other one name? Chelsea. Did I get that right? Because they all had... Okay, not related to Naomi and Chelsea, but they are related to Eva, Kat, and Martin. So-called Eva. Question mark Eva. So Doug continues to wrestle with his gambling addiction. You know, he has that $50,000 burning a hole in his pocket, so he starts making bets, right? He calls Randy over. I think that's his name. Don't get it twisted. Remember, I have the main characters down packed, still working with the side characters. So he called, I believe his name, like I said, is Randy. And he calls Randy over, and Randy tells Randy he wants them to play the numbers on this horse. I just thought the man was over there down to the doggone casino playing cards. Hell, I didn't have no idea he was out here shooting the dice and everything else. And everything not so nice. Also out here in these streets playing the horses. Whoa. That's a real gambling addiction right there. And so he's like, I got to get me some help. So he goes to see Nicole. And Nicole is telling him that, you know, he tells her that she wants him to keep everything confidential. In other words, don't tell Vanessa. But what would I do? Because, I mean, I never did get the opportunity to work as a social worker in the private sector. Well, Nicole technically is not in the private sector because she has her own office, and she works at the hospital. But whereas, you know, even as caseworkers, we have to uphold confidentiality. So, yeah, but I don't think I've ever, yeah, she could have just told him, no, I'm not going to take this case. I'm not going to listen to you because it's conflict of interest. That's how I got myself out of stuff, especially when I was a social worker. And, you know, it might have common incidents where, you know, my children or somebody that I knew that was real close to me or related to me, I would ask my supervisor, you know, what was the degree of relativity. In this being a small town, I'm related to a lot of people. And so I would ask what would be the degree of relativity for me to recuse myself from the cases. So sometimes I would, if I had a third cousin or something that would come in. And it wasn't because I didn't care about if they were mistreating their kids. I actually didn't care if I was related to them. It was just it would cross the line into if a neglect situation was really happening, they would think that, you know, maybe I didn't tell the whole story if it was somebody I was related to. So I do see Nicole's point there. So Wednesday episode going into Thursday episode, we have Nicole. And Nicole is like really suspicious. Now, what in the world is going on? I'm going to see this girl, Laura. She's in the hospital. Laura's ready to come back to work. And all of a sudden, she finds out that she had some mysterious flowers. Well, they were sent by Eva. Why did Eva send her flowers without getting Nicole's permission to do so? The plot thickens, huh? And so they have a conversation about the flowers. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to do some research, because how in the world did you get an infection from potassium? What was going on with your heart at that point? When I know I had checked your files myself, I should say undercover. I wasn't supposed to, but you know, HIPAA, you know, like I said, you know, it's still a conflict of interest, even because Nicole is not her doctor. But she checked her chart and found out that, you know, there was a spike in her potassium levels, which was kind of weird. Now, as sloppy as Leslie is, and he's supposed to be smart doctors and stuff, somebody should be on to her by now. So, like I said, these episodes were Doug and Vanessa heavy. I hope they don't show them at all on next week's episodes. I'll be good. I'm good on Doug and Vanessa. Okay? But, and when it's weaved into having Bill on episodes with Doug and Vanessa, shit, Bill's episodes seem kind of boring. Well, you know, we found out that Haley is not pregnant, but she really thought she was, and now that Bill knows that she's not, he still told her, you know, I am willing to be okay with you having a baby now. But Bill is up to something, right? So he tricks Tomas, you know, if you want to be partner and I can see your future, I can see you having a, you know, because Bill is a damn scammer trickster. I can see you having a good foundation at the firm, and I can see you moving up to partner pretty soon, but I need you to do something. Okay, so he's gonna end up, he did spy on the women, so he comes back and reports to Bill what they're up to. Bill's feeling good about that, but everybody is noticing that Bill is still having this tingling in his finger and numbness in his hand. And he tried to pick Haley's little light ass up, and he was still shaking and trembling. So we had a shaky Doug, and now we have a shaky Bill. But and that's another reason why Naomi backed off of the case too, is because of Bill. She's gonna get one of her sorors to do it, and I think she really is breaking real life. I think she's an AKA, if I'm not mistaken, but that's neither here nor there. I just tried to give y'all a rundown of all the people that were actually in Greek fraternities and sororities on this show. So now that Doug has come clean with Nicole, he's feeling his spirit is beginning to feel lighter, but he remembers that he still has these debts that he has with Joey and his friend Randy. I think that's what his name is. Fingers crossed that that's what his name is. But Randy, he's having these issues with Randy because it's bleeding over to their work relationship. Joey is pulling Randy in one direction. Doug is pulling him in another direction. He's remembering how good of a friend Doug is to him. He don't want to backstab him, but now at this point, Joey is making threats on Randy. So Randy is still, Doug is still meeting with Randy behind Vanessa's back, and Vanessa is still meeting with Joey behind Doug's back. So she makes a agreement with him. She tells him, as long as you're being honest with me, we can keep it going. But then we find out what solidifies that what may be perceived as her exhibition. It's not that's just Diego that she's sleeping with. I knew she was sleeping with other men, but I didn't think it was like this. She has been employing a escort service. And she is the brick idiot. I remember it's like, how catch a strays? How I get in this? Just jokes, people. Just jokes. But anyway, she has been employing an escort service, and Joey confronts her about it. And guess what? She admits. And guess what Joey admits? That he knows because he owns the escort service. Joey got his damn nasty little grubby little paws and everything going on this soap opera. I would be surprised if he blackmailing Vernon for something. And that Vernon has a debt with him from 1962 that he had forgotten about. Because he likes to build up these debts like long sharks do. And to get money and interest off of it. So right at this point, we find out that Doug is under with Joey over $100,000, and just imagine what the interest is gonna be, y'all. And that, my friends, is going. Oh, by the way, before I finish that, let me just say before I end the episode, Bill is trying to keep his firm together. And he's gonna go about it and by any means necessary. And he still wants to maintain the power in the firm. So that's another reason why he got Tomas spying for him. It's a Jacob and Naomi meet with the homeless woman down at the police station. That's where the episode ends, because I was trying to figure out, where do I know this homeless woman from? Okay, she had a hair cut off, and I don't know if this was this role, because Beyond the Gates has a bad habit of not picking up where they left off at, because on last week's episodes, once Kat got into the apartment of Eva and Leslie, I thought for sure that Friday's episode, because that was Thursday's episode, I thought for sure that Friday's episode was going to pick back up on Leslie confronting Kat. But they didn't finish that. Don't do the Tyler Perry thing and leave loose ends untied. I remember I got to be somewhere. So that also happened on Friday's episode, Thursday's episode, and then goes into Friday's episode. And they didn't even mention Kat. But anyway, back to the police station. She's a homeless woman, and she beat somebody up over her things. And then when I said, who is this woman? Who is this woman? I looked up her name, and they was like, let's welcome, whatever her real name was in real life. And I say, no, that voice. I'm catching that voice. And then I realized that is Christy from Saints and Sinners. Guys, I'm glad to see they putting black people to work. Come on in. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell button. You will be notified when I upload a video. Like, share. Why? Because sharing is caring, and as I do when I close, I'm going to chunk them up. Deuces.